The pnawn da pawb, croeso ato ni, diolch am ymuno ni heddiw. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the fourth STEM Gogledd webinar. This is the fourth in a programme of 5 sessions for STEM teachers and curriculum leaders interested in developing STEM in their schools and colleges. Today's webinar is called Capturing Talent by Removing Barriers, and this is the third pillar in the Irish STEM framework, which we've been promoting to schools in the recent webinars we've put out. This third pillar looks at the positive steps that schools can take to promote equity of access to STEM courses and careers. And to talk you through this, we've got several guest speakers today who we're delighted to have back with us again this afternoon. We've got Alice Murray-Heath who's the North Wales coordinator of ESW, Alex Clewitt, the regional coordinator from Technicamps. Alex has brought a guest, Molly, who works in nuclear decommissioning. He's going to tell us a little bit about her work later on. And David Jones, the project manager from STEM Gogledd. Alice and Alex are going to talk about details of their GIST, the Girls into Science and Technology schemes, and David is going to talk about further support from the STEM Gogledd website. So let's get started. Building pillar 3, how do we remove barriers to capture talent, and what are the barriers? Okay, so nice time in the afternoon to kick you off with a numeracy and data analysis activity. Okay, this data has come from the Higher Education Statistics Agency, or HESA as it's called, and it shows applications for STEM higher education courses by gender for the years 2019 and 20. Okay, the last 2 columns show ratios, female to male, then male to female. Have a quick look over these and make some conclusions. Okay, just have a quick look at those numbers. Okay, and bang. Okay, so look at that imbalance in the red. Okay, so clearly when we're starting to look at ratios of about 4 to 1, there's a problem, you know. And looking at boys, subjects allied to medicine, there's nearly 4 girls to every lad doing that. Psychology, 4.4 girls per boy. Veterinary science, 4.5 to 1, although that's a lower number sample. But in engineering, technology and computing, it's the boys that's outnumbering the girls by 4 to 1, and well, 4.1 to 1 and 4 to 1. So we need to address this huge gender imbalance. Okay, now it's not just in this country. Over the last 15 years, the OECD research studies have identified workforce gender differences in STEM careers throughout Europe. They've looked at the possible causes, and they've made a series of recommendations that could be considered by schools in order to help reduce differences in gender participation. Okay, the ideal being that there should be no difference in participation in any STEM career based on gender, race or social mobility. Schools need to take steps now. Okay, so one publication that takes on board these recommendations and provides advice and support for teachers in developing STEM is the Irish Research and Innovation Framework. This has just been published just before Easter. Okay, and the slide shows the latest Irish framework for developing STEM. Just before Easter it came out, as I said. Okay, the document's available as a download once you register with Iris. It doesn't cost you anything at all, and I can really recommend it to STEM practitioners. I've used it a condensed version of it to create this series of webinars. Okay, so the Irish framework asks practitioners to consider 5 aspects to develop STEM in schools. We're looking at 4 of them, okay, and we've considered them as pillars. Okay, in a bit more detail, the pillars are Pillar 1, enriching the STEM curriculum. This involves schools developing and improving pupil employability skills using STEM activities. We recorded a webinar for this pillar. It went out on the 10th of February and it's still available to view on the STEM Gogledd website. This first pillar also includes the 5th aspect from Iris on school leadership, which you can read for yourself when you download the document. Pillar 2, called Signposting the Future, means that schools promote awareness of STEM careers and pathways. The webinar for this pillar went out on the 31st of March, and like Pillar 1 is also available to view on the STEM Gogledd website. And now Pillar 3 in the red circle, the subject of today's webinar, Capturing Talent by Removing Barriers, means schools take steps to reduce the gender gap through challenging stereotypes and promoting equity of access to STEM careers, such as schemes like Girls into Engineering and Boys into Health careers. The final pillar is called Develop Your STEM Community, and that involves schools developing educational business links to create good working relationships with employers, businesses, colleges and universities. The webinar for this pillar will be held at the end of June. So each of these pillars provides guidance to allow positive steps to be taken to improve outcomes, and taken as a whole, these 4 pillars provide a sensible and innovative approach for schools wanting to develop their own STEM framework. Okay, so back to pillar 3 and today's webinar. Okay, pillar 3 supports teachers by considering practical methods that teachers can consider to reduce gender differences in some STEM subjects. So in the circle it says take steps to address underrepresentation in different STEM careers. And the strap line for pillar 3 from Iris is widen participation and capture talent through challenging established stereotypes and misconceptions in STEM, and through developing science capital create a culture of inclusivity. So how do we go about doing this, and how do we recognise stereotyping and misconceptions? And what is the science capital teaching approach? How can we reduce these gender differences and improve inclusivity? Okay, so we need to break down barriers to encourage greater participation in STEM from all groups of learners, some of whom may have thought that previously certain STEM subjects or careers weren't for them. In a school, pillar 3 could be implemented by taking positive steps to address the gender imbalance and by making STEM subjects more relatable by providing positive STEM role models for girls, such as women engineers coming in to talk to groups of girls. Schools could take part in the GIST, the Girls into STEM programmes, which is offered by ESW and Technocamps. There's going to be more about these schemes from Alice and Alex later on in the webinar. If you haven't heard about Science Capital Teaching Approach, this can help teachers to make science relatable and relevant to their learners by creating connections to a learner's sphere of understanding. Okay, now the great thing about the IRIS framework is, even though it's been produced in England for English schools, every single pillar matches up with what Estyn are looking for in the new inspection criteria, and every pillar matches up with the Curriculum for Wales guidance. So this slide shows how pillar 3 matches Estyn criteria and Curriculum for Wales. Estyn's in the middle, Curriculum for Wales on the right there. And I think if you know, I've highlighted the words challenging stereotypes. It's quite obvious in all 3 columns there, and you can see that the 3 statements are essentially saying the same thing. In Peth and Cymraeg fanna. Right, now you've seen these words challenging stereotypes in the last few slides. Okay, so I'd like to share with you a very recent example of stereotyping. Those of you who are news geeks like myself, okay, you may have got the BBC News app on your phone, okay, and every day you have a quick look what's happening in the news, okay, and this lovely story appeared in my engineering physics tab on the 27th April about Jess Hawkins trying to inspire girls into male-dominated motorsport careers. It's a brilliant story about a successful female role model encouraging young women into careers they might have previously shied away from. But the story on the app above it, okay, was a completely different one. And it was this. Okay, now have a read of that. Okay, and if you want to put your thoughts about it in the chat, okay, that'd be good. I was speechless when I read this, to be honest with you. Okay, but you know, have a little look at it, see what you think. I'll give you a couple of minutes to have a look at that. Have you got anything in the chat, David? Oh, his microphone's off. Okay, well, moving swiftly on. Okay. Has the head teacher done her homework? Okay. Have her statements undermined all the efforts put in by the Institute of Physics to level up? Okay. So what does the OECD research tell us? Okay, what are the biggest influences on girls deciding their post 16 and 18 courses? Okay, right. So in the first few are in direct order from the research, and the others are a bit mixed up, but the first two are definitely in order. Okay, so according to the OECD research, the biggest influence on the girls' choice of subjects is nothing to do with hard maths, absolutely nothing to do with hard maths. So she made that up from her own prejudice, possibly. Okay, now I certainly, when I finished teaching A-level physics a couple of years back, 3 years ago, when I finished teaching, I had 27 students in my upper six doing A2 physics, of which of that 27, 17 of them were girls, and they all absolutely loved hard maths. Okay, so the biggest influences on the girls from research that on a 16-year-old, 18-year-old girl are possibly and follows parents came out as the biggest influence, and remarks from parents, and some parents, not all parents of course, but some parents saying, oh, I don't know why you're choosing that, that's really hard, I was rubbish in physics when I was in school, don't help. Second one is peers. Okay, girls listen to and take advice from their friends and peers who may have had similar bad advice from some of their parents. I'm stressing it's some of their parents that have got some of these attitudes. Another main one is the public perception. Okay, the public perception of physics and engineering is equally biased by poor information. What are you doing that for? Okay, oh, I hated that. I was rubbish at it. That type of thing. And girls listen to it. One of the main ones, though, is number 4, pathways. A lack of information on career signposting and course pathways. Institute of Physics have recently produced a superb video called Where Can Physics Take Me? And that's doing the rounds at the moment as part of the mentoring scheme that the Institute of Physics is offering in schools. It's a really good video if you can get a chance to see that. Okay, and it shows where can physics take you. Okay, so number 5, the papers and the media. Many of the sort of papers and news items in the media portray physics and engineering and IT as being brainy or geeky. And now I know that at the moment, actually, geeky is becoming quite a badge of pride, but it can turn quite a few girls off doing subjects like that. And the last one, number 6, says physics role models. I tried to keep them in all letters P all the way down there, but this is true. There are a lack of role models for girls who are showing successful girls in physics, engineering and IT. They're looking to see around to see, are there any examples of girls like me who can be successful, that type of thing in a class. And they therefore think that there's nobody that's doing that subject, so they don't do it. But here's an amazing woman that did do it. Okay, so this is Gwen Parry-Jones. Now, Gwen Parry-Jones is several years younger than me. Both of us went to Beaumaris Primary School in Anglesey. Both of us went to local secondary schools. Both of us did A-level physics. Gwen went to Manchester University to do physics at university. Then she did a master's, and in 1989 she applied to be a reactor engineer in Wilver. And now she's in charge of 14 nuclear power stations. She's the Magnoc's Chief Executive Officer. She lives in Llandegfan. I used to live in Beaumaris. So I know Gwen very, very well indeed. Now, you can't say that Gwen didn't like hard maths. Okay, so schools definitely and practitioners have got a part to play in helping reducing the gender gap. Okay, although they can't change the advice to girls given by their parents, they can certainly address poor career signposting, lack of information, misconceptions, and a lack of female role models that girls can relate to. Okay, so some of you have seen this slide before if you've watched the previous webinars. Okay, it shows a possible STEM framework for a school that's adopted the 4-pillar approach. The framework provides a structure consisting of a coordinated approach from senior management, teachers, and Careers Wales. And today's slide, okay, this slide here shows the remaining slide shows the pillar 3 in the school framework. The orange, yellow and pink boxes I'll deal with now, and then Alice and Alex can discuss the green box afterwards. Okay, so these next few slides show the positive steps that can be taken by schools to try and address the STEM gender imbalance. Okay, we mustn't forget there's also a gender imbalance with boys in medical careers, and this too needs support. So, step 1, get some posters up in your rooms with some positive imagery for girls in computing and engineering. Build them onto your workbooks if you're using them. The middle image on the right is my sixth form girls in an ESW organised event, Girls into STEM event at Bangor University Ocean Sciences that Alice organised. The top right image is Phoebe in my lower sixth, who was measuring the wavelength of a green laser using diffraction gratings. Middle image at the bottom here is a STEM Gogledd event that we run at MSpark, okay, to promote science and technology and engineering and maths. And here's a composite poster that is available that you could put up on your walls if you wanted to show that sort of imagery. Okay, what else could you do? Okay, you can get female STEM ambassadors to talk to groups of girls. The top left-hand picture is Katie Hayward from Big Ideas Wales. She's a construction STEM ambassador. Bottom left-hand side, those of you who've been to the CZU might have met Frankie Hobro, but she comes around to schools as a STEM ambassador, talking to girls about marine biology. She also talks to boys as well, but she can do girls-only STEM ambassador work. So the other 3 images that's on this page show interviews we recorded for STEM Gogledd, which are up on the STEM Gogledd website, and David might talk about these later. Okay, third things, okay. Girls' perceptions of engineering may be improved through the use of female role models and influencers. On the left-hand side, we've got Beth Griffiths. Now, Beth's an Ysgol Bodedon girl who's a civil engineer working on the A55 currently. She's working on the new replacement carriageway at Abergwyngregin. Amazing engineer. She's just finished her university degree in Liverpool. The other 2, Ellie and Harad, on the right-hand side, they've recorded their journey for people to have a look at on the STEM Gogledd website. We keep a library of interviews with female STEM stars and influencers for other girls to have a look at. Okay, other things you can do, use female alumni as STEM role models or influencers to give talks to female students about their post-16 and 18 choices and their careers paths. This is 2 Beckys and a Lauren. Okay, Becky on the left is one of my sixth formers who's now an architect, and she can come back. If we asked her, she'd come back in and talk to the girls. On the right, we've got Lauren Molyneux, who's one of my past sixth formers, seen here winning the 2017 ESW Engineering Student of the Year Award from the previous First Minister, Carwyn Jones. Lauren went on to Cambridge University, now she's halfway through a doctorate. Becky Darlington in the middle is an Ysgol Bryn Alyn student. Now the school, in all fairness to Bryn Alyn, has got these posters absolutely all over the school, not just of Becky, but of other successful students, and they really are inspiring. Okay, so, and I'm sure if these girls were all asked, they would come in gladly to talk about their careers and courses. So what other actions can be taken? What other agencies support reducing the gender gap? Now, just to, some of you may not be aware of these, but there's quite a few agencies that are out there that support levelling up, basically. One of them is Chwarae Teg. The recorded webinars that they've got on Chwarae Teg are an absolute must. They're very, very good indeed. Next, the Institute of Physics. They've really worked hard to encourage diversity, and they've produced a series of videos called Limitless, and are well worth a watch. Now, what we'll do later on this afternoon in the webinar, I'll try and put these links to them in the chat so you can have a look at them later on, but I certainly can recommend Limitless. Okay, it's a great video to watch. We've got the STEMettes, and they're very active all around the UK, putting on events for engineering STEM for young women around the UK. The science capital teaching approach, if you're not aware of it, it's a pedagogy that teachers can use to make science and technology more relatable, to promote interest. The approach has been really shown to improve outcomes for pupils. More about that later on. And just to put this up to finish off my bit here, okay, that is in the front of every single WJC specification. Okay, it's the WJC are absolutely committed to fair access to all, and that's a brilliant statement, I think, there. Okay, so that's in the front, as I said, of every specification. And that's me finished. Okay, now, other things that schools can do is to involve their girls onto GIST programs, so Girls into Science and Technology. Both the ESW and Technocamps have exciting GIST programs, and both Alice and Alex are here to tell you more about them. Many thanks to both of you for coming along today. Alice, are you going first?
Yeah, I'll go first because I think mine will be shorter.
I'll stop sharing now. Thanks.
Okay, no worries. I will just see if I can share my PDF. Can we see that?
Yep, it's there.
Okay, wonderful. So you'll forgive me because I am using a resource that we used for an International Women's Day event, but I thought it was the same relevance for Girls into STEM, so it's getting used and I will update it as we go along. So for those of you that don't know, just a very quick brief intro. Who are we? EESW STEM Cymru. We run a variety of programs to provide young people with practical experiences in STEM. That is, for example, includes the sixth form project that Hugh mentioned earlier, in-school workshops, longer term competitions such as the F1 in schools, First Lego League, etc. And one of our core aims is to inspire young girls, young women into STEM. And you can see that figure there. We have engaged over 15,000 girls in STEM since 2015, which we are very proud of. We have got quite a few success stories going back throughout the years. So we've had our major STEM Cymru programme in place since 2010. And every sort of academic year, we do have quite a few all-girl teams and sort of success stories of girls. But this is our most recent success stories from the last academic year. So in the UK national final at the F1 in schools, we had 2 all-female teams representing Wales, and you can see them there. We had Astra and we had Imperium, and they did absolutely brilliantly. They won Astra won best pit display in professional class, and Imperium won best sponsorship and marketing in development class. And that is an awful lot of work that goes into that. I can't really describe in 5 minutes how many hours they will have put into that, but it's all about, well, F1 is all about racing, aerodynamics, there's physics, there's science, there's technology, there's all sorts in it, and they've put a lot of their own time into that. And that shows that, you know, giving them something a bit fun and a bit engaging can really challenge those stereotypes that girls don't get into motorsport or girls don't get into racing or cars. It's not true, and we can see that there. So that's a nice little success story there. But our main offering is out for girls is our Girls into STEM programme, and that is aimed at Key Stage 3, crucially because it's before they make their choices of GCSEs in Year 9. And the aim of the programme is to, as he was saying, is to try and take them to places of industry and to show them what is possible. We try to introduce them to female engineers and female role models while they're on the visit. But as you can see from a few of these pictures, they just get a different environment. They get to put a high vis and a hard hat on, and they get to experience that site for the day. A few of the examples here, you can see JCB. I'm not sure, I think this is South Wales one, that's Keir in South Wales there. But the main thing is that we have got 4,300 girls so far, so that was in March, that have visited company sites, taken part in practical activities, and most importantly, they've gained an insight into what it's like. You know, female engineers and women that work there have been talking to them and telling them that it is possible and that it's a good career to get into, and they can absolutely do it. We work with, it says 35 companies there, but that's as of March. It's currently 40 companies. We've added another 5 in the last few months, and we've conducted over 340 visits since 2015. So I will just scroll down so we just have a look at the sort of variety of who we work with. You can see there's a whole lot of universities and companies there. Most recently, we've added to our roster First Hydro in Llanberis, and that's hopefully going to be a really, really good trip, and we will hopefully have more of those on the cards soon. The only unfortunate thing I would say is that as soon as we advertise them, they get booked up immediately. So I would at this point say you can sign up for some, but they always get booked up within the day that they get sent out. So if you are interested in a Girls into STEM visit, I would recommend that you maybe type your email address into the chat now, and I can add you to our mailing list. And I would suggest maybe just being quite vigilant on the old inbox if you get an invitation, because they book up immediately. But you can see it's a nice sort of mix of companies. There's a big range, and we get everything from very scientific one, like the Bangor University School of Ocean Sciences, all about marine biology and things, all the way over to, you know, old-fashioned engineering or computer science. There's a big range there. And finally, because we like to show off again, we do have a lot of success stories of girls sort of changing their mind almost after engaging with STEM activities and engineering activities. So we very often have our Student of the Year award is very often a girl. It's not deliberate. It's an absolute merit thing, but a lot of the time they do really find their passion having done the ESW project, and they apply for our Student of the Year award, and they have to tell us how their STEM project has impacted themselves and how it has impacted their community, and how it will impact Wales as well, and the economy and the, you know, the future of society and engineering. So it's quite deep questions we ask them, and very often the girls will tell us all about how their perception of engineering has changed, how their perception of STEM has changed. So it's really lovely to see. And also it helps that we give them an £800 sort of bursary towards studying STEM in the future. So it's a really nice award. This year our winner was from Ysgol Gymraeg Plasmawr in South Wales. I'm hoping for more North Wales awards, so please do encourage your sixth formers to sign up, and hopefully you'll get more North Wales awards. So yeah, it's mainly ESW's main goal is to encourage all young people into STEM, but one of our main pillars, to use Hugh's word, is to encourage girls into STEM, and we're really proud of our work in that sort of area so far. You can see we've got lots of lovely pictures here, but we want to carry that on. So if you are interested at all in getting your girls that you teach into STEM activities, all you need to do is get in touch. There is our contact details there. I will also pass the contact details on to Hugh or David afterwards, so you can send them on. But yeah, that was just very brief run through there, and we hopefully will see more of you and your girls on our trip soon.
Thank you very much indeed, Alice. That was absolutely brilliant. And you know, from first hand, I can recommend every single event that you guys run. It's brilliant. It really is superb. So thank you very much indeed for being with us this afternoon and telling us what ESW do. Alex, is Alex here? Yes. Hey.
Hello. Right, let me just share this. I'm going to do this, but I'm aware that we've got the little interview with Molly as well. So I'm just going to fly through this as quickly as I can. Our current main funded project is a STEM enrichment programme, which sadly is coming to an end this academic year. But I'm very hopeful that we will be able to continue. Can you see my?
Yes, I can.
Screen? Yeah. I'm very hopeful that we're going to be able to continue our offering in at least some way, shape or form. So yeah, currently we're running a STEM enrichment program, which is, well, since COVID, has reduced down to at least 2, preferably 3 separate engagements with learners. We have a focus on involving girls in our program. Our targets are to hit 2/3 girls, and to try and encourage, like Alice said, try and encourage people into STEM, young people into STEM that possibly didn't consider it before working with us. And to choose a STEM route post 16. I'll just quickly run through. So this is some of the offering that we have. So we historically, Technocamps has had a focus on computer science, coding and computational thinking, but we've branched out slightly with this program to cover a bit more STEM, but still with a focus on how coding and computational thinking can help where studying STEM subjects, particularly involving kind of devices and programmable devices within a science context, etc. So I'm just going to run through some of these. We've got the new digital tech GCSE, so we're offering support on that, which has had a really good uptake. As you can imagine, with a new qualification, lots of teachers are wanting support on that. And some of the other programs that we've got. So we've got things with First Lego League to try and encourage schools to get involved in that. And then Alice has a bit more involvement with the actual practical side of that and can support. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, Alice. I think you're still continuing to support schools with First Lego League.
Yeah, absolutely. We pay their registration if they want to do that. Excellent.
So we'd like to see more schools getting involved with that, and we can run workshops to give you a taster, and then get a team together and get in touch with Alice. Most of our workshops are delivered as half days, but obviously we can tailor a program for you. We work with primary schools in our playground computing program as well, right through from reception to year 7. And here's some of the, I don't know if we've got any primary colleagues on the call, but here's a selection of some of those workshops. We've got a fairly comprehensive CPD program, including support again for the digital technology GCSE. For primary schools, we've got a Techno Teach accredited program where you can actually get accreditation for your school should enough of your staff get involved. And we've just about to start in the autumn term is the VTCT program, which is a level 3 qualification in teaching computer science. Primary and secondary can engage with that one. We can also tailor CPD for you as well. We run after-school online clubs for children. That's just a breakdown of the digital technology CPD. So to the subject matter of today, we have at various times, we have events that, as well as, of course, engaging with the girls in our normal STEM enrichment program, we have on occasion had events that were more targeted towards girls. So the last one of these was actually just before COVID hit in February, when was that, 2020, which was a week of activities based at Bangor University. So we had girls come in from about 5 or 6 different schools, some of them from Towin. We actually put them up in some university accommodation for the week, and they had a whale of a time. So hoping at some point in the future to do something similar again. We've got various competitions that we run as well with some good prizes. I'm not sure if they're still, Game of Codes has been and gone, but the robotics one, I think you could possibly still get involved in. Various partnerships. We work closely with the Microbit Foundation, Twinkle, educational resellers such as Creative Hut and Kitronic. And then finally, if you would like to get involved with us and you'd like to book something, here is the information that you need. For Conwy, Denbighshire, Gwynedd and Mon, you need to get in touch with me. If you're based in Flintshire or Wrexham, then you need to get in touch with Will Clark at Glyndŵr. We are very, very busy up until the end of this term, but depending on what it is that you're actually after, still get in touch with me if you are interested, because we hopefully we'll be able to fit something in for you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I hope that wasn't too quick.
No, that's fine. That's great. Thank you very much.
Good. I'm just trying to find my Teams icon. It's disappeared.
Just to let you know, I've been in the Denbighshire cluster in Abergele today of primary schools, and they're absolutely rating the workshops you've been doing there. So thank you very much.
No, that's nice to hear. Thank you. Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Hiya, Molly.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So tell us all about yourself, Mol. Who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Molly German. I'm a mechanical design engineer for Sellafield Limited, which is a nuclear decommissioning authority. Probably one of the key points is that I'm a degree apprentice in my 3rd year of a 5-year apprenticeship.
Excellent. Thank you. So where did you go to school and what subjects did you take? I suppose give us a main breakdown of GCSE and A level, I guess.
Okay. So I went to Wirral Grammar School for Girls, and my GCSEs I studied were separate science, maths, English, Spanish, history, geography, and design technology, but specifically product design. And then at A level, I chose physics, maths, and product design.
And which was your favourite?
Product design.
Oh. No, fantastic. No, brilliant. Excellent.
So after school, you went straight into the degree apprenticeship?
Yep, that's right. So within my year 13, I did apply to university as well and received offers, but I applied to about five apprenticeships, and on results day got onto Sellafield's degree apprenticeship, and I've been here for 3 years.
Has it been 3 years already? Wow.
Shocking.
So could you give us a bit more detail about, you know, what do you actually do now? What's involved in your job? What's the you know, what are you learning about, as well as what you're actually sort of practically doing in your job?
Yeah. So to be honest, the Sellafield apprenticeship is quite unique. Firstly, in its length, it's 5 years, whereas you could go to Airbus and it's 3 years for the same degree. But within my first year, I spent the whole year in college, 4 days a week studying for a level 2, which was interesting, practical engineering operations course. So that's doing lathe work, electrical installation, welding, plumbing, joinery, bricklaying, plastering, everything to give you a well-rounded appreciation for all disciplines of engineering. And 1 day a week I was studying for my HNC at that point. Then in my second year, I came into the workplace for 4 days a week and studied at college for 1 day a week. So at the end of the third year, in 2 weeks, I finished my HND in mechanical engineering, and then 2 more years for a top-up degree. My work kind of consists of everything's very varied. So I could be designing pumping systems, mechanical handling, piping, any machine essentially. And that work consists of 3D modeling, analysis, risk assessments, calculations. Essentially, we come up with a design, a solution, we have to prove it works, and we carry out the whole design up until installation where the operators are using it on plant.
Wow, that's amazing. I remember you telling me about what you did when you first started it, about doing your plastering and your joinery and all that. And I just think that's absolutely wonderful, because I think not only does that give you fantastic life skills when you get your own house and all that kind of thing, but it it gives you that basis, doesn't it, of understanding about, you know, how things work and what you know, the skills that you need for your hands. It's fab.
Yeah, definitely. And all designs are multidisciplinary. So I work with electrical engineers, civil engineers, process engineers, and I can't just focus on mechanical. I have to have a basic understanding of what they're trying to achieve as well. So that facilitates it in the first year.
Big picture. That's brilliant.
It is. It's just fantastic, isn't it? So what qualifications and skills do you need to do your job? How would you sum that up?
So to get onto my course, I needed an A level in maths at C grade and A science. So obviously my physics hit that, or alternatively a BTEC in engineering.
And was that a C grade in hard maths or easy maths?
Easy maths.
Oh. So she was right. And what's the most interesting thing you've had to do so far in your apprenticeship?
So probably the area I'm most interested in is kind of the way that design's progressing on. So we in our studies we do a unit called virtual engineering, where we do finite element analysis and computational fluid dynamics, and it allows us to model. My project was on a wind turbine blade. I modeled it on the software and tested its loading conditions and proved its effectiveness. And that taking that skill from studying into the workplace is really invaluable. for example, my boss, they've never used analysis or FEA, so the industry is really evolving to use new technologies. For example, on our site, we're now using surveying robots such as Spot the Dog, ROVs to move things in the pond. So it's a really interesting industry to work in, especially for technology.
Sounds great, especially the Boston Dynamics Spot robot. I'd love to have a go at that myself. What do you enjoy the most about it?
I enjoy the variation, to be honest. Every single design package is completely different because working on an aging nuclear facility, there's a new problem every week. I'm also not stuck at my desk. For example, if I want to understand a design more, I can just go up to site, physically see the problem, talk to the operators. So compared to solely working at a desk, it's quite an enjoyable job as well.
That sounds good. So what advice would you give to other girls that might be wanting to sort of follow what you've done?
Firstly, I'd recommend to not worry about your grades. I was not the strongest in maths. I enjoyed it, but I struggled to get the top grades. But companies they appreciate wider skills, extracurricular things, be that scouts, guides, sports. That shows you have softer skills, and they're more willing to invest in people who are a rounded person rather than if you've got straight A stars. And on that, I think that investing time in finding work experience, trying different areas of the STEM industry. So try mechanical engineering, electrical, understand what discipline you want to go into. Not only supports your decision when you do apply and it comes across in interviews, but also tells you which areas you don't want to work in.
Oh, that's an absolutely brilliant answer, that is. Because what did you do? You did D of E, didn't you? You did, was it
Cadets? One of the key things that swung my interview was the Arkwright Engineering Scholarship. So schools can fund students, basically do an aptitude test, an interview, and you talk through your design project that year, and you are matched with a sponsor. Mine was the RAF. And they took me under their wing, took me to all sorts of events, and I got to meet top test engineers in kinetic, network with engineers in the RAF. So I think meeting as many different engineers really consolidated my decision to go into engineering, just simply through the networking.
And then just and gave you loads of things to talk about and put down, which is what a lot of young people don't. You know, they do their ROA, don't they, at the end of high school, and they've got nothing to talk about because all they've done is stay indoors playing on an Xbox or whatever. But not you. Good.
Well, in my case, it kind of distracted from my C in maths, so they're more willing to let you in if you don't have the grades, if you've got extra things.
Exactly, like you say, they're looking for people that have got, more rounded. Yeah, great. So just I've added this question here. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. This is brilliant.
Who or what do you think gave you the inspiration to do what you've done?
That's a good question.
Sorry, I've thrown that one at you at the end.
Probably my parents, to be honest.
Not your dad, surely.
No, not my dad. I kind of always knew that I didn't want to go to university because the apprenticeships appealed to me. I thought I knew my learning style worked better if I was physically doing it and studying it on the side. So my mum encouraged me to look at engineering apprenticeships, and that's how I discovered engineering that way.
Super.
That's fabulous. Thanks ever so much for doing this, Moll. It's been really good.
No, Molly, thank you very much indeed. That's been excellent. That's really good. You're an inspiration to other girls. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you.
No worries.
Sorry, I'll just reshare again. Okay, and if people can see that, no, they can't see it. Okay, so let me just close that for a second. So let's go back up to sharing again. Sorry, I've lost my window there. It's all gone pear-shaped now.
Hugh, while you're trying to find things, can I just
Yeah.
say one thing that I forgot from mine?
Yeah, certainly. Go for it.
Sorry, I forgot to mention
No, that's great.
It's just because we have got a workshop session called Engineering Is It For Me? And it's all about it's all about the different types of engineering, but it starts with an engineering personality quiz. So like, what kind of animal would you be, or what would you do in this situation? And that's been going down really well with girls because they love a personality quiz, and at the end it tells them what kind of engineer they are. You know, are you a mechanical engineer? Are you a civil engineer, etc. So that is a nice one for, especially for early year 9, if they haven't done their options yet and you want to encourage them to do product design or the sciences or anything engineering focused. Please do book our Engineering Is It For Me session. It's free, and it's been very popular at the moment. So little plug.
That's brilliant. And Alice, I think that's given me enough time as well. I don't know if people can see that. If they can see that
Yeah, we can
slide
see it
from now. Okay, so that leads us on to the last item really now. Thank you very much. David, would you like to speak?
Indeed, I'll be quick because I know it's 10 to 5 and it's a really nice day for people. But bearing in mind here that you've just shown the date and the subject for the next meeting. So all I wanted to do really was to share some information or maybe set you off on no, I don't want to share my screen. I want to share something differently. So hopefully you can see the STEM Gogledd webpage. So this is the STEM Gogledd hub. So it is. I'm not going to take you through piece by piece, but one thing for you to remember, it's stemgogledd.cymru, which is the web address, and essentially I'm just going to show you through this front page here. Really is different sections, different blocks here of, you know, there's the obvious ones about what we do. There's a little teacher's corner here, which will have links into stuff around STEM clubs, how to run STEM clubs, just hints and tips. There's also in there, I'll try not to go and shift too quickly. So again, if I go back, there's some resources if you want to visit the webinars again. There's some interesting reports and stuff, and also if you might want to direct some of your students into here, and then obviously clearly we've linked into Careers Wales is one of our key partners in terms of information and just getting information about STEM careers out there. And the only other one that I think is really worth looking at for you is the STEM stories. Now this links into our YouTube channel and our YouTube presence. So there's lots of stuff that we've produced there in terms of getting people to tell us their stories and people to tell us, and very much like Molly's done, which is brilliant, because I think that is in terms of inspiring young people and maybe giving them that boost, is to actually see and hear and speak to young people who have already done that. So, you know, so it's brilliant to hear from Molly today. But what we've got here is we've got examples of people who have gone on to do different things. There's some video stuff. There's some other sort of digital stuff there that you can share. Really, just if you want to go and have a look, go and have a nose, go and have a play around. But one of the things I would like people to do, if you were able to do this, is just give us some some feedback. If you see something, you know, yeah, we really like that, or you know what, there's none of this there, or we could do with more of this. We're really open to people's suggestions. So that's all I wanted to say, is just go and have a look, and you know, go and have an explore, and then just please tell us your view and your opinion, and you know, we really value it. So yeah, nobody wants to hear from me when it's a nice day like this. So
thank you very much indeed, David. That's brilliant.
Thanks,
okay,
Steve.
that's really wrapping it up now, really. Okay, the future meetings, the last one of these sequence of training videos is on the 30th of June. It's about building pillar 4, developing your STEM community. We're hoping to link with Bangor University and MSpark to talk about what they're offering there to schools in the area. And basically, really, if you've got any questions, if you want to put them in the chat, or if you'd like to come off mic and ask them now, that'd be great. Other than that, thank you very much indeed. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi am eich amser pnawn 'ma. Thank you very much for your time.
Diolch Hugh, thanks.
Dim problem o gwbl.